You may remember Jeff Duncan, Brian Kemp's Republican lieutenant governor of Georgia. He ran in 2018 with Marco Rubio's endorsement as a business-friendly promoter of conservative values. But in the years that followed, Georgia became a flashpoint for national politics in the 2020 election cycle. President Trump tried to pressure Republicans in the state to, quote, find votes for him so he could win the state he lost. Jeff Duncan had enough. He called out Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani for spreading doubt about the state's election. In 2024, Duncan even endorsed Kamala Harris, speaking at the Democratic National Convention. And after trying, in his words, to save his party from Donald Trump, Duncan announced this week that he's joining the Democratic Party. And there's a lot of speculation that he may try to run for office in the state again, but not as a Republican, as a Democrat. In an op-ed for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, he laid out his support for expanding health care access and his opposition to Trump actions like immigration raids and cuts to food assistance. My decision was centered around my daily struggle to love my neighbor as a Republican, Duncan wrote. The list of reasons why I'm now a Democrat continues to grow. Most importantly, my decision puts me in the best possible position each day to love my neighbor. And joining me now is one of Georgia's newest Democrats, former Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan. So let me start by just asking you, this is a big switch for anyone. I mentioned some of the issues you talked about in your op-ed in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. How did you make the decision? And when did you make the decision? Why did you decide it was the right choice for you?
Yeah, Jen, this has been going on for years for me. I think most folks that have been around me, operated around me in politics and in the legislature, saw this evolution happening. And it was twofold. One is the Republican Party has just turned into something I don't recognize, don't respect. But also, I always wanted to be in the solution business. I got into politics 10 years ago because I wanted to, come up with creative solutions to real people's problems. And Republicans have just created a brick wall around so many of these solutions. And so, I wake up today refreshed that I can be back in the idea business. And, Georgians and Americans in general have real problems. As I mentioned in the piece, over 1.2 million Georgians wake up every day without health insurance. And Republicans have said that the answer to that is a job. But the reality is 85% of those people wake up in a working household. So they have a job, they just don't have the right job. So we've got to figure out creative solutions around that and other things like gun control. Over 90% of Americans want to have serious action taken on gun control, yet Republicans won't let it across the finish line because they're scared of their own shadow on the issue. And the list goes on and on. I'm excited to be back in the idea business.
You also talked in your piece about immigration and some of the immigration actions we've seen recently, people being terrorized on the streets. Those are my words, not yours, but you talked about that in your piece. There are other issues Democrats care about. What did you not have space to write about? Abortion access. What are other things people should understand you're aligned with them as now a member of the Democratic Party on?
Well, I think it's in a general sense, poverty in general. There's so many different, facets of poverty that, in my opinion, there's been too much demonization of people that are in poverty. I think about, leveraging a $17 billion rainy day fund that we have in Georgia, some sort of jumpstart for those folks that are, one prescription away from being able to carry a full-time job, or one roof over their head away from being able to get their family back together, or one skill set away from being able to launch a career. There's opportunities for us to leverage, but we have to be creative. We have to think outside the box. And for me, that is part of this platform that I'm now a part of in the Democratic Party. Georgia is a unique place. As Lieutenant Governor, I got to serve as the President of the Senate. And one of the most rewarding aspects of that was working across the aisle, day in and day out, sitting in a Democratic caucus meeting as a Republican Lieutenant Governor at the time, sitting there asking them their opinion and seeing the value of the work put in a bipartisan way. There's a better way to do this than what we're watching play out on our TV screens every day.
You said it's been an evolution for you over the course of years. You were a registered Republican not that long ago. Where do you disagree with the Democratic Party and the Democratic Party platform?
Well, it'll certainly be time for me to be indoctrinated to all the deep corners of the Democratic Party. I don't agree with everything that's in the Republican Party and never have. And I'm certain I'll probably not agree with everything in the Democratic Party. But I think the most important asset for the Democrats to have in the near future is to agree to disagree on certain issues. And what those issues are, time will tell. But I think it's important for us to really lock in as Democrats be able to be the party of ideas, be able to get big ideas across the finish line and really meet people where they're at, whether they need a job, whether they need health care, whether they need a safer neighborhood, whether they need somebody to just stand up for them or their neighbors, like I talk about in the piece. I think it's important. And this is the opportunity for Democrats. If Democrats can come together and grow the size of the tent and allow them to be able to put their best foot forward in state after state after state, I think with this chaos comes opportunity for the Democratic Party, and I'm excited to be a part of that.
We only have about a minute left, but you're a professional. So let me ask you, I mean, you said that as a Republican, you were trying to save the party from Donald Trump. Do you still think that is possible for the party to be saved from Trump?
No, it's not. It's not possible. I mean, I've watched firsthand the Republican Party has been absolutely decimated and destroyed. I don't think there's anything coming back, at least for the foreseeable future, for years, if not decades. Donald Trump has destroyed it and created a cult-type atmosphere around it. And this is the opportunity for Democrats around the country to stand up and to do the right thing. As I mentioned at the Democratic National Convention when I spoke there, our family motto is doing the right thing will never be the wrong thing. This is the right thing for Jeff Duncan to do. I think this is the right thing for Democrats to do, is to look for ways to love our neighbor.
Jeff Duncan, thank you for joining me. I'll look forward to seeing what you do next. There's lots of politics ahead in Georgia.